Well, hello, and welcome again to the 2012fad.com. I will be your host this evening. My name is Charlie Bluehawk. Last night we talked about making the Bible true, and how our masters are actually staging the various street-level uprisings in the USA and the Middle East in order to have their final battle, their end of days, the battle at Armageddon. And it's all part of their black magic ritual to recall their god, Satan, back to rule the earth. Now, yes, they actually believe in Satan, and it truly does not matter what you or I believe in, if anything at all. All we need to worry about is that our masters believe it. I discovered many years ago that if you want to learn about a country, about any particular nation or culture at some specific point in time, just watch the movies from that time period, and you will see the subconscious mind of those people in that nation at that point in time, which is what our episode today is all about. Now, I'm very old. I grew up with the original Star Trek, and so I was really looking forward, for example, to this new movie. It was new in 2007 or 8. I don't even remember anymore. I saw it, and it was the most sanitized film I'd ever seen. It was literally wiped clean of any subconscious information at all. It was scrubbed, it was polished, it was shined, and was completely empty, completely void of any meaning or of any kind, which of course made it wildly popular. Now, I also saw a movie a few years back called Watchmen, and it was exactly the opposite. There was so much information in that film that it actually overwhelmed me completely. I sat in the theater, I couldn't move. I had to see it again and again, and finally had to retreat to watching it on DVD. And to this day, I cannot process all of the subconscious subliminal information that is in this film. Now, it's not actually subconscious information, it's not subliminal information, but we'll get into that. It's only the only words I could think of. As far as I can tell, when movies are made, and movies take hundreds of people who are involved at so many different levels, you got the financiers, the producers, the cast, the crew, the people who do the editing of the video, the editing of the audio, the people who do the footsteps when you hear in the background, the people who play the instruments in the musical scores. You've got people who work in the locations, people who build costumes, props, sets, the people who feed the cast and the crew, security guys, nurses, extras. It just goes on. There's hundreds and hundreds of people involved. And because there's so many people involved, you would think it would be literally impossible to wipe a film clean of all the influences all of these people have. Somehow in the Star Trek movie, they managed it. We chatted, in an earlier episode about how we, all of us, you and I, are part of a living computer that makes up this world of ours. Now, this isn't, science fiction. This is just plain old-fashioned fact. Again, you can check these facts for yourself. Do a little research, go to the library. Again, your local librarian is your best friend in the world. Go talk to them. They will help you. And if they don't, find another one. Find a librarian who will help you and ask them about this. They'll be just as interested in it as you are. So anyway, you and I, part of a living computer, just the way it is, we talked about how we, each of us, communicates, transmits, and receives gigabytes of information every second, every day to each other. We then meet other people, transmit the same information back and forth again. We're not consciously aware of this, but it is happening. And we talked about the ways you could prove it for yourself. There's lots of ways of proving it. We could get into that to yet another episode. And again, as far as I can tell, movies are a projection, if you will, of that same process. The film, the movie, projects that same kind of information from all the people who worked on it. How? I have absolutely no idea. I just know that it's there. And if you listen, again, it's the previous episode on listening. If you listen, you can absorb this information. It's as if hundreds of people are projecting a single thought at you, all at the same time. You can't possibly miss it unless you're really stupid. Now, I mentioned the movies because in this episode entitled The Matrix, or more particularly, Are We the Matrix? I'm not making any claims, and I'm not asking you to believe anything that I say. I always tell you the same thing. Don't believe me. Prove it for yourself or disprove it for yourself. Rather, I'm asking your opinion on what I have seen myself. I want to know what you think. So it's more of a question of, are we inside the matrix now? Is the world we are in now real? Or is it, like on Star Trek, are we inside of a holodeck, a three-dimensional world that's being projected around us for our amusement? Well, amusement is not the right word. Personally, I found nothing amusing about any of this. Is it maybe an educational tool, an electronic teacher? Now, I could understand that. That makes sense to me. But if that's the case, then something has gone very seriously wrong with this program. I believe that at one time I was actually booted out of the program, whatever it is, booted out of the holodeck, and I saw for a moment the real world, but just for an instant. I will tell you what I think I saw, and I will let you decide. I think that the real world is so different, so completely alien to what you and I see and feel and hear, that it is, yes, a different world. The one thing that struck me right off, there's no sky. Rather, there is a sky, but it's not empty space filled with stars. It's filled with something, like strands of colored stripes, but no stars, and it fills the entire horizon, from side to side. I was in a city. It was just a city. It was filled with people just like you and me, just folk. But where they lived, it was, I don't want to use the word different dimension, because that doesn't quite do it. It was a different place than what we're accustomed to with the sky and stars and things. It was like I was popped out of a bottle, and inside of that bottle was our universe. And our universe is actually a power generator we know, for example, that our universe produces massive, uncountable amounts of pure energy. But where does it go? No one knows. I think that our holographic world is also a database. I think it stores all the knowledge, or some large amount of knowledge, from the real world. The ancients in this, our world, believed in the Akashic records. Now, the Akashic records was the sum total of all knowledge that is physically stored within the universe itself. And all you need to access this knowledge, this absolute information, is the proper code. Magicians would say, it was an incantation. A computer programmer would say it's a user ID and a password. So imagine if you knew the right words to say in a magic ritual, which to a computer programmer is a user ID and a password. With the right words, with the right motions, with the right gestures, the universe would recognize you, recognize your user ID and your password, and would give you access to the sum total of the knowledge of the entire universe. Isn't that interesting? I also think that our holographic universe is powered by, yes, you and me. I think that each of us is linked directly into a real computer, a physical device, and that you and I become, when we enter the educational program, we become a part of the computer. We become part of the processor, which means that we're part of the machine, which means that we can't get out until our part of the program ends, or we are booted out, which I would imagine is kind of painful, but I have no idea. Sort of gets us back to the real fact that here, in our holographic world, as it were, you and I, when we meet, and this is scientific fact, this isn't, fantasy, when you and I meet, we immediately begin to exchange gigabytes of data every second, back and forth. And this is the part in our conversation where you say, well, so what? Big deal. What does this have to do with you, with me, with anybody? I still need a job. I still need a place to live. I still need to eat. I still need to go see my girlfriend. I got stuff to do. The answer is I don't know. But what I do know is that there is something very wrong with this program. Something happened. For example, the CIA has documented studies of people that they have found. Well, they've stolen. They are the CIA. They've documented studies of people, real live people, just like you and me, no different than you and me, who have no need to eat. They have no need to drink water. And they have no need to sleep. The CIA studied these people for weeks. They never ate anything. They never drank anything. They never slept. And they were perfectly fine. Of course, the CIA wanted to know how this was done so they could kill people more effectively. They frankly couldn't figure it out. I think our universe is all three things. I think it's a power generator. I think it's a database. And I do believe it's a teaching tool. And I think, just as in our own world, there are hackers in the real world. And just like here, hackers just want to screw things up. They want to make things bad. Or they want to change things to their own selfish needs or goals. I don't know. I think that the system cannot be shut down completely because it is the power generator for the real world, or perhaps just the city I was in. They can't shut it down because it's a database and because there are people, you and me, trapped in here who cannot exit the program unless we die. If you shut down the universe for repairs, what happens to the millions, the billions of people living in there? People whose minds make up the machine, the program, who literally are the universe. So, you know what? I guess that means that we really are a part of the universe. The universe exists because of us. And it's no wonder at that point why the masters want us kept dumbed down. Why would we need the masters if we knew the truth? That not only are we a part of the universe, we are part of what forms the universe. We are what part of the universe that powers it. I mean, what if the masters, and whoever their masters are just a computer virus? Well, again, so what? It's a machine, we're in it, but again, we still have to eat. I just wonder if hackers have caused a glitch in the program, for example, adding alien invaders, computer viruses. Doesn't that sound like a computer and a computer game to you? It does to me. Of course, I've been in computers for 25 years. I guess when I say I've been in computers for 25 years, I guess I have been longer than that. Maybe the hackers wanted to spice up the educational program. Maybe they thought it was dull just to go into a computer program, have a wonderful life for 90 years, 100 years, maybe even 1,000, 10,000 years. Maybe they thought it was dull. Maybe they wanted to spice it up. Maybe they wanted to have wars and aliens and talking demon lizards, and they thought that would be really cool. Unless,